So this video is about me trying to help a friend put together his new motherboard, or replace his motherboard for the first time. I chose this system because it is really... Anyways, this system's been running for... Shut up! Anyways, this video is a tutorial about... Alright, hands are here. I'm going to attempt to do this video while ignoring the bird in the background. I'm going to show how easy it is to replace your motherboard. Easy in quotation marks. I mean, it really is very easy, but you know, sometimes having somebody show you a few tricks and tips really makes things go by faster. Now, on your computer, the motherboard is going to be flipped around and to the side like this. This is a upside down motherboard. So, open it up. It's not going to look like this because this is just a very lazy job, because there's really not a lot of heat, and I don't really care about cable management for this system. Anyways, let's just unplug the power cables first. Just like replacing the power supply. There's one major thing I would just recommend alleviating before doing this, and it is take your time. I've made the mistake of being jacked up on caffeine or sugar and working on the computer. I get impatient. It sounds so easy because anything you're supposed to take your time on that you don't want to break, but I cannot stress the fact as much with computers, because they're sharp-ish objects. There's rough, very hard to bend cables that are just gonna piss you off. And so, heck, if you're into it for an hour and you start feeling that anger, that rage building up, just go ahead and take a break. Even though you want to get it done, you want to get back on your computer, stuff like that. So, anyways, let's keep on plugging stuff. Idle audio. With computers, a lot of the cables are self-explanatory. I mean, they'll connect to something, and thus, if they're not plugged in, they won't work. These are all your hard drives, obviously. That's unplugged, unplugged, unplugged. Looks good. Here's a real sad angle of the motherboard being flattened. It always doesn't hurt to be not dumb like me and kind of moving them out of the way before doing what you're trying to do. So let's go ahead and remove this first, and then get to removing the motherboard. I'm using a drill, but it is set on a very low torque, but you know, of course, while unscrewing, I don't need to worry about that. But I gotta make sure that that is low for when I am screwing in the motherboard back in, because you could easily put too much strain on the screws, break the motherboard that way. So what I'm doing here is unscrewing the 4 screws that hold the H50 pump in place. This is the bracket that holds down the pump. Once this is free, it's easy to remove. Do not just yank off, just give it a twist. It's going to be a little tough because of the thermal paste on there. Well, once it twists, you should just pop right off. And you can see the paste right there, all in its goopy format. Yeah. Just place that over there, basically. So there's the processor just sitting there, all happy like. So most microwave TX motherboards got about 9 screws if it's a full-size board, roughly that. So let's get to that. Not stress how important it is to be gentle while doing screws. Shut up! Now the problem is the bird is jealous of me talking to the camera. And no one likes being ignored, right? So he's gonna probably come in here and rape me. You can see the back plate. You need to pull out and then up at a slanted angle. I will show you. It is a lot easier than I'm making it sound. You just pull out, then up. And what do you know? You'll have a little black thing right here. It says please remove first before installing the processor. You just remove the bar out like that. This motherboard placed their socket in this direction. Some motherboards will do differently, but the golden arrow right here is pointing down this direction on this motherboard. You typically don't want to touch the top of this because you'll get grease from your fingers on it. That's easily cleaned with the blue bottle of Arctic Clean. That basically is a good polisher. So I'll use my isopropyl alcohol sometimes to do that if I touch it and get a bunch of thumbprints on it. But place that down, slide that forward, and with some pressure, bring the bar down and clip in. Very easy. In my experience, it's a pain to remove your radiator once it's connected, and it's actually not impossible to clean this goop off while it's still attached. You just move some stuff out of the way, grab it with a good grip, and grab your cleaning stuff and get started. So I'm going to use my Goo Gone because I am pretty much trying to save on the Arctic Clean. I use it up too quick. I use a whatever trash cloth for the first initial goop removal phase. I believe the Arctic Clean is completely safe, so you don't have to worry about spilling that stuff anywhere. But right now I'm just making sure I get that really thick layer of goop away. Luckily this is not plugged into my computer right now, because that would just, that's why cleaning this and attaching it while it's outside the case is going to make life really easy on you. Okay. Let's clean off all this oily stuff with my alcohol. Injecting. I like to use coffee filters. They don't leave behind barely any residue. Start polishing her up. I almost forgot to elaborate on removing your I/O panel on the back. Easiest way is just and then you take the new one, and most of the time these things won't give you too much of a fight. There's a little thingamajigger that might give you some issues when placing the motherboard in. It's easy just to bend them back a bit. You just line it up with, the motherboard. The motherboard's panel position, I guess you could say. And after some very painful moments, using your thumbs and whatnot, click it all in. I usually go for corners 2 at a time, make sure, and there we go. Very okay. We have some rolls of electrical tape on the back. And that will make it, so much easier to just place it in the motherboard. Place it in the case, chassis, whatever you want to call it. Here she blows. And what do you know, it doesn't fall off when I try to place it places. Now, let's place the motherboard in. Always try to connect to those good old ports on the shield here. Okay. Alright, let's screw it back in now. Get the motherboard centered, because if it's not centered with the screws completely in the middle, you'll have problems like getting your graphics card in and stuff like that, because it'll be too tight or too loose. Just try to get it dead center. Okay, so we got 2 screws in. That should be good enough to give us stability for placing the Corsair in, the H50 pump. So we polished it all up, it's all nice here, it's all nice here. We're going to need the thermal paste to go right there. Don't worry, very easy, because luckily the best method, in my opinion, is the easiest method. Alright, so here's our CPU all shiny and polished up and ready for aids. Here's my thermal paste tube. All you have to do is squeeze just a tiny little half a pea size drip in the middle. That'd be a little too much, but that should be just fine. You just place this right around there. You want to match these little notches with the mounting bracket here. And honestly, it could be any direction. That's the good thing about this pump. Gently go down, and you want to match these screws with the holes. Once it's on the processor, you want to keep a finger on it or something so you don't lift up or move it. Let's go ahead and bring one side down. Now this pump, you do one side and then the opposite side. And they add equal pressure all the way down the water hole. There's that side. And there's this side. There we go. See barely just right here. It's a CPU fan, and that'll go right there. And it only plugs in one way, just like all the other power supply cables. And you want to look for on your motherboard, most all motherboards have it, is the power fan header. There it is right there. So let's go ahead and plug her in. And you can see the little white text under there. It even says PWR_fan. So all we need to do is two more things. Let's just put a quick stick of RAM in, and then we plug in. This is the freaking 24 pin. That only plugs in one way. Damn. Okay, that's plugged in. So we got one stick of RAM, power. Hopefully you have your manual ready, because we're going to find the power SW. So we take our manual, say, okay, front panel, let's see, power SW. Okay, there we go. Needed just to start up, make sure things are working. And then you grab a keyboard, plug it into your power supply. You're all ready to do your first test boot. Go ahead and hit power. H50 might make a little bit of gargling noises, but that's just the water. Well, there we go. What do you know? We got video, first boot successful. So to save time, I screwed in all the screws and connected all the front panel things. Make sure that you match the positive, negative, otherwise you won't get your front power light working and your hard drive activity light working. All I need to really plug in now is my hard drives and maybe a fan here or there. Plug that in there. So that's plugged in. USB only fits in one way, and usually the reds are facing the front. Front panel will have a pin blocked off right there, so you just gotta match it with the pins on the motherboard. Front audio is important. Of course, I kind of just putting these things in, no cable management on this, that makes it easy. So this computer is finished.